But the senator, while indoctrinated, could not explain his toxicity.
You should not listen to men's rights advocates if you want to know what they have to say.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Honey Badger Radio. Hope you guys are doing well this day, I guess. And, my name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is HBR Debate. Hold on a second. I think I did something a little different. I gotta fix you. Hold on a second. Let me just...
It's HBR Debate number 31.
HBR Debate number 31. That's right. Shoe0nhead X Vaush. I think it's like a a shipping thing, right? Fixing your screen.
Yeah, I see you're fixing me.
I don't want you to be too big, but
don't want me to overwhelm.
I had some issues. There we go. Shoe0nhead X Vaush. Intersectional feminism is white feminism. HBR Debate number 31. So I apologize for us having to start late. That's on me. I thought I was basically like doing a little bit of looking back in the Wayback Machine of our old streams to see like when we had Shoe0nhead on before, because we have had Shoe0nhead on at least twice. Once she was on a regular Honey Badger Radio show, and it was with you and Hannah and Karen and me. At least there might have been more people on, and that one went for like 3 hours. And I actually have it here. This is Honey Badger Radio Shit Feminists Say the third, featuring Shoe0nhead. That was the first time we ever had her on, and you can see this is from October of 2014, so kind of an old one. And we also had her on a fireside chat. This is back when I used to do the Face Rig Doge, and when I listened to some of this, and I got a little bit nostalgic for Face Rig Doge, so I was like, well, let me see if I can set up Face Rig on this computer, and I'll just put it in place of my face on the, in here, right? But what I didn't know was when I opened up Face Rig, I had it all set up, everything was great, but what I didn't know was that Face Rig hijacked all of the audio settings, all of them, and I was like, the audio was all messed up. So before I like do that, I'll have to that's a rabbit hole I don't think I'm ready to go down right now, but maybe one day if I figure it out, I'll put the Doge back up we'll have a callback episode. Right, just for nostalgia's sake, right. Yeah. So that was what I wanted to do, but it didn't work out. So I apologize for that. Anyway, that aside, so what we're doing is a little bit of background. I made this post on my Facebook page. I had this, like, you get Facebook memories, right? And there was this one picture. It was an old picture that Shoe0nhead had taken of herself in a pink wig holding a, I think it was like an Apple phone or an iPhone, and it said, resist capitalism, and she was giving a middle finger, and it was basically like she was parodying a feminist online. She was making a parody. It's an old picture. And I shared it and made a little joke about it. And Nick Redding, who is another men's rights activist, he was responsible for the Patriarchy Party in Canada, and he's done a lot of great work. Which I helped with. Yes, which Allison was also helped with. He also was at the Slut Walk. I think that was in Edmonton with Lauren Southern. With a sandwich board that says "I love sluts." I love sluts. Yeah. And yeah, he basically has pulled a bunch of little stunts, and I consider him a friend of mine as well. He commented and he shared this video, and this video was made by another men's rights activist who's been making content for a long time named Felfop Returns. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm going to be using a clip from Felfop's video, or basically a portions of Felfop's video. And Felfop, if you're watching, I'm not doing this to take any credit, because you put this video out, and I think it's great because I didn't know that this clip existed, and I thought that maybe Allison and I could comment on it. So I shared the video with Allison, and she said we should talk about this, and here we are. So
okay,
that's a little bit of the background of that. So one other thing I thought I would share with you guys, and I have some timestamps here, is a little bit of Shoe0nhead's background, and also maybe a disclaimer. I have nothing against Shoe0nhead. I think that I still like her, and I think that we've had nothing but good conversations when I was able to talk to her, and I've met her multiple times. But I think with that, we're going to have to make some criticisms. And Shoe, I hope that if you're listening to this, it's not personal, but you're wrong about stuff. And this is the internet, and you know, when people are wrong on the internet, we have to do something.
It has to be pointed
about
out.
It. Yes,
yeah.
We have to point it out. Thank you, Nick. Nick said he sent me the link I was asking for. All right. So, but for a little bit of background, I thought I would give you some impressions of what Shoe had thought about the men's movement before. So this is a clip. This is a video that she made when she first saw the Red Pill movie by Cassie J in 2017. I'm almost positive that's when it was, and I just want to show you guys a little bit of what she thought at that time. Okay, so we're gonna play this clip. Let me know, Allison, if you can't hear it. I think that you should be able to, though.
Deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole and actually decided to make a documentary about the men's rights movement. She keeps a little video diary through the whole—
Oh wait, I did that wrong. Hold on, let me go back. Damn it, Brian.
Had to see it. Now, I don't want to give too much away about the documentary because it's that good, and I don't want to like throw spoilers at you, but I cried 3 times. Skeptic's shirt was just full of mascara and eyeliner, but that's all I could say without giving away why. You just gotta see it.
And then let me jump ahead to another point. She does go into like why the movie's good and stuff, and you should probably check it out, but this is an old video, so.
This movie honestly reminded me of why I'm not a feminist, why I don't agree with their rhetoric or their attitude, why I'll never be a feminist. All of my fans watching this right now, you will fucking love this movie. Mwah, mwah, 10/10. And if you consider yourself a feminist, please consider watching this. They don't bash feminists or anything like that. It's very neutral. I think you will really, really appreciate this perspective. Please keep an open mind. I promise it's not scary.
All right. So that was 2017. And for some additional context, she did mention Skeptic, I think she said. And if you guys didn't know, the Shoe0nhead was dating another YouTuber named Armored Skeptic for a long time. They actually recently broke up. My understanding is that he dumped her, but I don't know. But I thought that I would give you a little bit of what Armored Skeptic thought about the film as well, because I do think that it might be important for the context. Because Skeptic was actually more critical of MRAs than Shoe was. I don't know if you knew that, Allison. Not that it matters, but...
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay, okay. So a little bit of that.
Subject matter. The film starts off with Cassie recounting her experience reading the website A Voice for Men. You'll see how easy it is to just dismiss men's rights activists right off the bat. Especially off of the website, they use such crude and aggressive language. They really come off as just assholes. And in person, they seem really timid and shy and almost like they have victim complexes. But like me, Cassie starts digging deeper and listening to some of the bigger picture things that men's rights activists bring up.
One other bit. I'm going to go a little bit later. I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to do a gotcha on Armored Skeptic or Shoe. And I know that overall, they both liked the film. Shoe was a lot more supportive. I think Skeptic, I don't know. He has slightly different views.
Cassie interviews both MRAs and feminists for this film. And I want to say it almost seems like there's a little bit of a bias in the way that both groups are presented. The MRAs are always presented in a positive light as victims, as the oppressed group. And feminists always seem to come across as aggressive and dismissive. But it's possible that...
Go ahead, Allison. Yeah, I knew you wanted to say that's the way they were.
Because they are.
Yeah, right.
I mean, come on.
I think Cassie J may have like try to twist things. Like when Michael Kimmel compared the MRM to the Ku Klux Klan, it must have been like a little bit of doctoring on Cassie J's part. It came across that way. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's just the way it worked out, because maybe the MRAs in this film really did know what they were talking about, and maybe the feminists didn't actually know what they were talking about. The men's rights
all of the men's rights activists in the film, in many cases, except for a few, like Warren Farrell, are not academics.
Yeah,
they were and also Mark Angelucci was a lawyer,
mm-hmm.
but a lot of them came from this from I would say an amateur perspective. Not necessarily like a lay perspective. And all of the feminists were academics or professionals.
Professional, academics, or they were journalists. I think the Ms. Magazine
so to say that the feminists, didn't know the arguments, they weren't put together, they didn't present themselves well. Well, it's not like Cassie J went to the most, except for maybe Big Red,
mm-hmm.
the most rarefied. She didn't go to like the most inarticulate feminists. She went to the top and she interviewed them. So I'm putting that out there. It's like, I don't think that was skewed towards, she didn't go and find the crazy feminists, the feminists that nobody cares about or nobody actually listens to. She went and found the tenured feminists, the journalist feminists, the feminists with feminist jobs, and presented their views. But it's like, I'm just pointing that out. I'm not.
No, I know. It's unless, of course, you think that Michael Kimmel, Michael Mesner, and the director of Ms. Magazine are not good examples of feminists, and they're like a straw feminist or something. Because Big Red wasn't even brought up. She wasn't even in the film for her necessarily her contributions. I think Cassie J was trying to get an impression of what like a common normie feminist thinks about the men's movement. And Big Red, Chanty Binks, I don't even want to disrespect her. Love you, Chanty Binks. Mwah. Please come on the show. What Chanty Binks thinks about the men's movement is probably gives people an idea of what a common feminist thinks, especially like a newer one. Because, they could have easily gotten what is her name? Fucking Scum Girl would have probably said the same stuff. So, anyway, I just want to play the rest of this little clip and then we'll keep going.
Activists seem to have their shit together, and the feminists in the film were all just very dismissive. Most of them just playing armchair psychologists, trying to explain the motivation behind men's rights activists instead of actually listening to the things they were saying.
All right, so basically, I think Shoe gave it a 10 out of 10, and Skeptic said it's like a 7 because he thinks that there are some things that, that the MRAs say that he attributes, I don't know, that he says men's rights activists attribute cause to that he doesn't believe is the case. Basically, he was over applying skepticism in areas where it probably wasn't necessary in my mind. And I say that because they were together. And so Shoe has her views have changed over time, mostly related to like the election and stuff in 2016. And I think that it may have even skewed her views on feminism. So she became disenfranchised with her side of the political aisle, as it were, because while she's not a social justice warrior, social justice warriors and her share similar sort of base politics, and i.e. she is on the left, right? And she thinks that she's trying to rein in her side. That's sort of like what she makes content for. So, okay, let's not go crazy, let's not promote violence, and so on. But what has, I think, happened as a result of that is that she has also been hanging out with bread tubers. And this clip Felfop used in his response video is of Vaush, who is like a way out there communist, and Shoe0nhead discussing Shoe0nhead's history with feminism, basically making, non-feminist videos or anti-feminist videos or whatever. So I thought I would play a little bit of that. Oh, and I did see the video of Vaush and Warren Farrell. It wasn't really a debate. It was because Warren Farrell, I think Vaush couldn't, like, even Vaush couldn't make himself be, like, overly aggressive with Warren. Because Warren was just too nice, right? And what it ended up is that Warren was highly agreeable. Vaush was saying, he was using his conversation with Warren Farrell to dunk on the rest of MRAs and the manosphere at large by saying, oh, you're not like, an uncouth caveman savage like those other men's rights activists. You seem to be, I think that you've thrown yourself in with a lot of like really terrible people, but like you seem really reasonable, this kind of thing. So I wouldn't say it was a debate so much as a conversation that turned into Vaush kissing Warren's ass. So, because he's like one of the good ones. Anyway, let's listen to this.
Well, I guess the only one he would consider a bad one, who? Like people who don't actually identify as men's rights activists?
That he would consider to be bad? I don't understand the question.
Like Roosh V, like he doesn't identify as a men's rights activist. Is that someone Vaush would consider to be a bad MRA?
No, he would consider every other MRA to be a bad MRA. Because the thing is,
us, that's really nice.
Oh, for sure. Because the thing is, Warren Farrell pays a lot of lip service to feminism, right? He gives them a lot of credit, especially the second wave, because he was a part of. Well, what happened? Allison?
Hello?
Yeah, you're back. I don't know what that was.
Huh. Well, it must have been something that I screwed up.
I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. All right, you're back. We're good. I don't know what that was.
Okay.
Okay. So what was I saying? Oh yeah.
Warren Farrell gives a lot of lip service.
Yeah, he gives a lot of lip service to feminism. His focus is only on men's issues. He doesn't necessarily go after feminism in the same way that we do. He's probably wouldn't describe himself as a non-feminist or anti-feminist. And so I think that for Vaush, this whole thing is about utility. Because the fact is, let me just be real, and we'll play the clips so you guys can see what I mean. Let's be clear about Vaush, okay? He isn't interested in human rights causes like feminism, like Black Lives Matter, like trans rights, like LGBT rights. Like those things are, they're not the core. His main concern is class struggle and workers' rights and communist shit, okay? Like straight up redistribution of wealth, communist shit. But he finds utility in the disenfranchised that might think that the cause of all their problems is some other structural problem, whether that is them being gay, them being black, them being women, or whatever. So he'll give feminist lip service. He will regurgitate, more accurately, feminist talking points. He will talk about toxic masculinity. He will talk about systemic racism. He will talk about, homophobia or heteronormativity. He'll talk about gender as an oppressive force and that it should be abolished. But at the end of the day, he'll turn on all of those things if it meant that he can get people focused on the class struggle, which is what he's mainly concerned with. And I've seen him go after, there's clips all over the internet of Vaush going after the trans community because he thinks that they're hurting the cause because they're, whatever to him, they're just too out there, or whatever community it is of other social justice warriors. So I think that at the end of the day, if Warren Farrell isn't directly in opposition to what his ultimate goals are, and then there are some ways that Warren Farrell isn't, because Warren Farrell's he's for gun control, he's for some left-wing causes. He just thinks that is a path to help men and boys. So and ultimately Warren Farrell doesn't care how it gets done, he just wants to get it done. But Vaush will kiss your ass if he thinks he can get you in his camp. He is literally like the serpent in the Garden of Eden. So I think that he's paying Shoe lip service because she's got a massive platform, she's hugely popular, and he's like, well, if I can get her to turn over to our side, then she could be a useful asset. basically it. And I think that it's the same with Warren Farrell. He was doing the same thing. He was licking his asshole. He was saying all these nice things. He was like, oh, well, I too care about men. And he was also at the same time saying things like, well, if you seem so reasonable and intelligent and you have this great history with the women's movement and blah, 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 why are you hanging around with those cretins over there at the Red Pill subreddit? Why are you associated with those guys?
I don't think he does hang out with the Red Pill subreddit.
No, of course not. No, he does. But I mean, Vaush doesn't have a problem with guilt by association. So that's what I'm getting at. So I mean, it is a in my mind, and I could be wrong about everything I've said, but I don't think I am. In my mind, that is why his ultimate goal is this. We'll just listen to the video. Let me just get into that. And I'll look at super chats later. So here we go.
Also, like the BuzzFeed shit, I always say like, I can't speak. Sorry. I would always call it like pop feminism and stuff like that. Like I would try not to like, broadly smear anything. Although I've probably done it in the past, but like, I always like try to clarify like, oh, this is.
Did you see that? By the way, did you see that, Allison? Look at this again. I want you to see, because when Vaush does his streams, it's always just him on the camera, right? He's got his chat here. And when he's talking to people, if they say something that he wants to disagree with or accentuate or something, he will often like make a facial expression. So if you listen what Shoe is saying and then you look at Vaush's expression, he's telling us that he doesn't believe her. Well, we'll check this out.
Broadly smear anything, although I've probably done it in the past, but like I always like try to
see that face he makes where she says I've smeared feminism in the past, right? She may have done that, and she certainly used to. And so he's giving us this knowing look, like, well, I know what you've done. It's like, evil Santa Claus.
Clarify, like, oh, this is a minority of people, like this is not all, hashtag not all, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I actually I want to talk to you about that. The most aggressively I guess mocking content you've made in your channel tends to be directed towards feminism. How do you feel about feminism, broadly speaking?
All right, I'm just pausing there for the banana because this is Felfop's clip, but he borrowed from Vaush, and I don't know what the rules are for that. So hopefully you don't take us down, Felfop. So anyway, what's Shoe gonna say?
Broadly, like I've never gone after like intersectional feminism or anything like that because I don't. People are always like, why doesn't she go after like this or that? And it's just because like I don't think that's a terrible thing. I usually just critique, I guess you would call it white feminism, although I don't really like that term.
I usually say second wave feminism, but yeah, either way, it's also very white. So whatever you prefer to go after.
Like,
all right. Did you want to say something to that? Or do you want me to play some more?
It just seems like she seems like she wants to please.
Yes.
Like, and that's like I don't know what to. I don't want to say anything too necessarily too negative. But I mean, I'm not like that. I don't really want to please that much.
Yeah.
So like I don't have maybe as much of an understanding of that kind of. I'm with somebody. I want to please them. I want to make them like me. That doesn't necessarily concern me that much. So I just noticed that she seems to really want to. She doesn't seem to have a really firm sense of what she believes here. So I'm not even sure if this is something that could be necessarily held against her, because I don't know if she's that. Like she has that stable a core on these issues, perhaps is the way to put it. Like my core is pretty stable. Like it hasn't really changed direction since I was, in my late teens. I've only gone to the point of finding stronger and stronger arguments for my intuition that I was having at that time. So I would look into I would have an intuition about what's going on. I would look into it. I would confirm it.
Oh, God damn it. What the hell's going on with Discord?
What's going on?
I don't know. Hold on. Go ahead. Keep going. We're still live.
Okay. All right. So like over time, I would build the arguments. I had an initial intuition about the situation, and then I would build the arguments stronger and stronger. And if there was something that didn't pan out, then I would change my ideas accordingly. But I've always had sort of a sense of what I believed and where I wanted to go with it, a very strong sense of it. And I don't get that off of her. She seems, like I said, that she just is sort of wants to please. And so I don't know. I just
yeah.
We'll continue.
No. I agree with you, and that's why I'm saying like I'm not gonna take this out on Shoe. I think that there is some. I think the worst thing I could say is that she's kind of like a chameleon, like in that if she's in a group with some people, then she might like be more flexible with her views so that she's not upsetting anyone. I'm not saying that she doesn't have any of her own views. I'm sure that she does. But I do think that they are pretty adaptable because she generally wants to be agreeable. She generally doesn't want to rock the boat. And I guess like in a way, this is like this video interaction could be a warning, because I can tell you right now that Vaush is not like that. He has some extremely aggressive, angry, if not outright hateful things that he has said about people that he disagrees with politically. And I got a super chat. This is exactly what I was thinking. From Barry Bluebird, he gave us $5 and he said, Vaush was on my shit list after he mocked the suicide of Alec Holoka, aka the creator of Night in the Woods. I am not kidding. And I remember we did a story on Alec Holoka. He died because he killed himself. I believe he was like the one that Zoe Quinn was involved with, but I do know that he at least killed himself over a false allegation or series of allegations. And he couldn't handle the pressure. And of course, Vaush celebrated that. And he's also talked about, like, the kinds of things that should happen to people that he disagrees with politically. And they're all violent fantasies. And I'm not saying that he himself has the balls to pull the trigger on any of this stuff. But I think that that's something that I don't think Shoe would want to be around. Conspiracy says, dude is a fucking tanky. Well, look, to me, there's no such thing as a tanky. Like, the people who do that, they don't have to be called anything. They're just psychos, weirdos, and they just want to see people hurt. So, but anyway, you're still there. Okay, you haven't dropped yet. And yeah, but anyway, I don't blame Shoe for this, but I think that she needs to really be careful about the kinds of people that she's running around with, because these folks are full of hatred. I've seen it, and I think it's dangerous.
Turfs and
what I was saying is maybe just step back from maybe the limelight and just think about what it is you believe. I mean, it's not necessary to throw your towel in with any or throw your lot in with any particular political camp. Like, you don't have to do that.
Well, yeah, she was actually apolitical for a long time. When she used to make those anti-feminist videos, she wasn't someone who was even interested in politics. She just didn't like these bullies on Tumblr coming around messing with everybody. So.
Yeah, so it's like I mean, it does, like, I don't see a necessity of even making a strong stance on anything. Like, it's not, you don't have to, but if you are going to, maybe just spend some time with yourself and figure out, just think about things logically, think about, maybe.
God damn it, Allison. What's going on, Discord?
Your own conclusion. Yeah. And then, like, I don't know, it just seems, she seems really.
What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Really having issues today.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Like, it's just fucking weird. All right. You're still here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here.
That's just
but
Discord is like resetting itself or something, and it's not it's not an update because I'm up to date on that. So
yeah, it's getting a little bit weird. I don't know how much people are actually hearing of what I'm saying since you're going in and out. So
I think they got most of it. So anyway, let's play some more of the video.
Yeah.
Fucking like the pop, I guess pop feminism, just like this stuff that kind of isn't really good at all. And like I think of it as like lassoing in.
I lost Allison again. I don't know what's going on. You know what? Let me do something. Let me close and reopen Discord. Let me just try that. Hold on a second. I am really sorry. I don't know why this is happening. So give me a second. I'll be right back. Let me just reopen. Well, I'm not going anywhere, guys, but I just need to figure out why it's acting up. And I don't understand why. It's like shutting down and shutting back on. Really quick. Well, yeah, when Allison disappears from screen, I know. Really quick. Let me go back in here. Oppressive communism is redundant. Communism is oppressive by its definition. That's why there's no such thing as a tanky. There's just the government. That's all there is. It doesn't matter if they send tanks or a guy with a rifle. It's all oppressive. There's nothing. People use the word tanky to differentiate one kind of force from another, but it's all force. So, all right, I am back. I don't know if this is gonna work, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. And
okay, let's see if this.
All right, let's try. I just restarted Discord. I don't know if that's gonna do anything. I hope it does. And I think that you're still. Oh nope, it's doing it again. Why? I don't know why it's doing that. I don't understand. Yeah, this. Oh wait a minute.
Oh goodness.
No. I think I see something, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, as soon as I started to share, it dropped you. But what if? Hold on a second.
What if?
But what if? If I. Nope, it's like every time. I can't. It's like I can't stream. It's like I can't stream the video to you without it doing that.
Yeah, this is a Discord issue. And it's a sudden Discord issue. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, I didn't have this problem before. Let me
well, I could just listen to it if you just play your desktop audio.
I that's the problem though. Like I can't do that anymore. Let me see. Brave. No, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So let me try sharing it and see what happens. Nope, it won't let me do it. It's like every time I try to share the thing with you. All right. How about this? No, that's okay. We can adapt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play a clip and then I'll summarize what's being said. And then you can comment on that. Okay? I don't know why that's happening, but I don't want to hold things up anymore. And I think that that's going to have to do, and I apologize. So something is up with Discord. Yeah, I'll send you the link too. Here we go.
And just give me a heads up on the part that you're playing.
All right. Okay. So I'm at 3 minutes and 35 seconds. Let me play a little bit more.
Like the libs and being like, hey, this isn't actually equality. What you're doing sucks. What are you doing? I see it in that perspective, but like, I don't think like, advocacy for making like tampons and stuff have no tax on them is bad.
All right, real quick, she's basically saying, I make my content now to like rein in the libs. But just to be like, what are you guys doing? Her problem seems to be with what she describes as white feminism, which I guess is like highfalutin feminism, like from, you know, the rich and the famous and the white, which of course she conflates as though they're the same thing. And also pop feminism, which is like, you know, we need more female representation in this movie or this video game or this franchise or this silly thing that isn't that important. But she says, I'm not necessarily against, you know, removing the taxes.
Intersectional.
Well, for the intersectional feminism, but her example is removing the taxes from tampons. Right.
Okay.
So
right. Okay.
that's where I stopped it. So, do you want to comment on that so far, or?
So essentially, I'm reining in the libs. So the liberal. I mean, because there's two ways to look at that.
Yeah, she's memeing a little bit though.
The classical liberals, the ones that actually don't have much. All right. Okay. No, so that's not what she meant.
She's talking about just like she's talking about feminists. So she's talking about leftists. But she's saying the libs. But I mean, it's kind of a meme because it was like, you know, triggering the libs or owning the libs. But I don't want to get on my, you know, why they're all using the wrong terms high horse here. But basically, she's talking about leftists.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Just tell me, give me a heads up on the next section that you listen to.
Yeah.
What's the time code?
3:56 is where I'm at now. So let's play.
Okay, I'm going to play.
All right.
I don't think like advocacy for like breastfeeding in public or like stuff like that, like feminism, like I don't think is like I've never called myself an anti-feminist.
Yeah, she's saying she's never called herself an anti-feminist. And she, I guess, you know, she doesn't have a problem with women like advocating for women's rights to breastfeed in public. Not that they don't have that as a right, but
oh my god, the remnants of second wave feminism are bourgeois.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Which is strange because when, you know, when Vaush had Warren Farrell on, Warren Farrell often said he's totally fine with what the second wave feminist movement has accomplished. And Vaush didn't say, well, that's white feminism and we should argue about it. That's what I mean by
bourgeois.
Yeah, that's bourgeois white feminism, the 60s. And that's why I don't take him very seriously, because his positions aren't very like they don't appear to be well founded in like actual principles, and I think that he constantly moves his goalposts. And one of the reasons why these people do this is because it makes it harder for you to argue against them, because then they can just say, oh, I don't support that, or I used to support that, or whatever. So it can be difficult. But I think that I'd like to stop it here for a second. There's only another minute and a half left in the clips that I wanted to talk about or show. But I want to talk a little bit about what's being said here. So Shoe0nhead is saying that she has criticized, or she only criticizes what she considers to be either pop feminism, which is really shallow, you know, no first world problems, like kind of feminism, like, oh, you know, well, her examples are things like, oh, this song is sexist, this Christmas song, or you know, why this character should be female, you know, like the whole this video game character is just too sexy, I don't like it, change it, right? And unlike guys, you know, like eyeballing me on the street is literally rape. Like those are the kinds of things that she considers to be pop first world feminism. She also criticizes TERFs, and the more I think about TERFs, the more I realize, or I believe, that TERF is not a term that people who are called TERFs gave to themselves, but that they are a term that intersectionals put on them. And I think white feminist is the same thing. Like, I've never heard of a white feminist say, I'm practicing white feminism, right? White feminism is something that intersectional feminists and womanists have, you know, black feminists have put on feminists that that are talking about feminism in a way that they don't like, or that are getting a voice that they don't appreciate in terms of its size. Allison's gone again. You can create.
Why feminism is a joke.
All right. I think I'm back. I don't know what happened. I'm really sorry, guys. This doesn't make any sense to me. There's also a problem with Discord. I gotta close it and reopen it again. There is some wonky shit going on, and I don't understand it. Hold on a second. Quit Discord. And let me try to reopen it. Now that's working. Oh my god, this is really annoying. This is really, really annoying.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Your camera's not on.
I think I turned it off. Like, I've been listening to it. Is there any point where they actually talk about men's rights activists?
No. This, they're not talking about men's rights activists. I think the main problem with Felfop had is that originally, Shoe was, she was supportive of men's rights in terms of, like, she's been on our show a couple times. She's praised the red pill, things like that, right? But on this stream, she's sort of distancing herself from that
Feminist
position by basically going, oh well, I'm not critical of feminism per se or whatever it is, and so I think that was his main issue. I don't know what's happening. I really don't. I'm like really.
Yeah, I can't tell what's happening either. I have a blistering headache, so this technical difficulties are just so unbelievable today.
Yeah.
But I'll just say what I wanted to say about white feminism.
Let's just talk about white feminism. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's much else to say here, except that Shoe0nhead is trying her best not to get on Vaush's bad side with regards to the way in which she's criticized feminism in the past. What she doesn't realize is that it doesn't really matter because you're basically either going to compromise your principles by essentially supporting a kind of feminism that you think exists when there's only one type of feminism. It's called feminism, and there's no white feminism, intersectional feminism, pop feminism, surface level feminism, academic. It's all the same. It's all coming from the same place. It was always garbage from the beginning, period. So go ahead, Allison, what you want to say about white feminism. Are you still there? Or we lose you again? Allison? Allison? Oh, she went to the bathroom. So, that's why she's not here. Let me read your super chats. Troy Davidson gives us $2 and says, have you seen Vaush debate with Warren Farrell? Yep, I would comment on that. Troy Davidson gives us $2 and says, Vaush would be the one holding the ice pick. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he has the balls to do that, but it's possible. And then I read the other one about Alec Holoka. Thank you for that, Barry Bluebird. And TV Dinner Master Chef says for 10 pounds. It wouldn't be a bad stream without some good old boomer tech. Have some shekels, fine sirs and madams. Thank you. I don't know why this is happening. I normally have this set up pretty well. I think that I'm going to have to just build from the ground up after this stream is over and just make sure that it works, because what's happening, I don't know if it's on my end. I don't know if it's my computer, which is about 3 years old at this point, which means it's ancient. I don't know if it's dying. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. So I guess what I'm let me just play a little bit more of this clip. I think it was I said it was a minute and a half left.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm getting the migraine is expanding like a mushroom cloud in my head.
Okay.
Possibly because of these technical difficulties, but what I wanted to point out, and you can finish this off. I'm going to have to go because I'm just getting really sick to the point where I'm getting nauseous.
Okay. Go ahead.
What I wanted to point out is that it's all she says, she tries to make the distinction between white feminism and intersectional feminism. And the problem is that it's all white feminism, all of it. And I know that this is something that people sometimes have difficulty with when I explain it, but the original feminism was appropriating all of these intersectional issues or these other issues in order to increase their victimhood cachet, so increase their resource of victimhood. So they would advocate for these other groups, but it was to increase the perception that they were that they had greater victimhood that they necessarily could have on their own. And feminism is basically dominated by white Protestant women, or wealthy women. I know some people say there's, Jewish women. There's a lot of Jewish women represented, but it's generally elite women from extremely wealthy, well-to-do, well-connected, well-socially connected, extremely well-educated women. So they're elite women. And often these women have a difficulty presenting themselves as victims, so they appropriate the victimhood of groups of people who have less advantages than they do. And but the thing is that this new form of intersectionality, in which it has this focus on white guilt, even white female guilt, is still white feminism. It's still appropriating these issues to create emotional resources for white women, not just emotional resources in terms of judging each other based on these intersectional issues, but also in terms of creating a target for their guilt. And a lot of people think that guilt is something that people don't want to feel. It's not. Guilt is a part of contrition. It's a part of piety. There is a reflex that people have for guilt. And the reason why I say this is something that I noticed a while back, that literature aimed towards white women had changed from motherhood to white guilt. So instead of stories about motherhood, they had replaced that with stories about white guilt. This is about catering to the emotional landscape of white women, of powerful white women, of the most socially powerful group of people on the planet. So it's not really about Black people. It's not really about Black women in a lot of cases. I mean, it's about some Black women, the Black women who are willing to sort of function as ushers or functionaries to provide these emotional resources to white women. But it's not really about Black communities. It's certainly not about Black families, about Black fatherhood. It's not really about improving the situation for Black people, because it doesn't. And so it's not about any of that. It does benefit certain, like I said, Black functionaries who are willing to serve up their communities and their peoples for the emotional gratification of wealthy white women. But it's like, it's all white feminism, like all of it. It all revolves, every single bit of it revolves around the power, the social desires, even for guilt, even for piety, like that feeling of submitting yourself piously to something, some moral schema greater for the, and then you turn around and you judge the woman next to you. All of that is just the emotional self-indulgence of the most socially powerful group of women on the planet. It's unfortunate that this is having some seriously negative consequences to cities in the US, to Black communities in general, and minority communities, to the rule of law in our society. It's having this negative effect, but there was a reason, in my opinion, that Eve was a woman, Pandora was a woman. There's other cautionary tales about women opening boxes and crazy crap coming out that is difficult to contain. So we are following the emotional impulses of wealthy white women, and we may be following them over a cliff, but that is still what everybody is revolving around, even the intersectionals. Like I said, there might be some Black functionaries who get money, recognition by sacrificing the interests of their own people in order to serve as emotional puppetry for white women. But it's all white feminism, all of it, from top to bottom, even the intersectionality. So this is what I would point out to Shoe, that you can't escape it. There's no point trying. All of it is white feminism. All feminism is white feminism.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's what I wanted to add, and
also the accusation, because that's what I was getting at when I said there is no feminist that ever said I am practicing white feminism. That is something that intersectionals point to and accuse women of practicing, in particular when they're white. But the act of pointing at someone and saying you're doing white feminism or I'm criticizing white feminism is an act of white feminism.
It is.
So it is. That's what I was trying to say.
Is moral competition between white women. How much of it is just using the Black community and Black people as emotional resources for white women? I mean, people think that because it's white guilt, it benefits Black people. But guilt itself is a resource. It's a resource for families. It's a resource for communities. It's a resource for civilizations. And when you extract that resource from one community and give it to another, there are effects. That the community that it's extracted from becomes impoverished. So it's like I'm watching this and it's like, well, yeah, well, it's always been around. It's always revolved around white women and what they wanted. It hasn't changed, and it still hasn't changed just because you got some Black functionaries out in front talking about white guilt and how the white woman is to blame. Well, yeah, they're offering now typical Catholic guilt or Protestant guilt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's once again, it's revolving around the emotional landscape of white women in general. All right, that's pretty much what I have to say.
Okay.
You can finish the clip if you wish.
Yeah, you can. You know what? I'll finish the clip, and then if you don't want to, you don't have to stay, because I know that you have a headache, and I could just read the. Well, I've actually read all the super chats already, so I can just take us out after that. But the main point, that was the purpose of this video, was to talk a little bit about why intersectional feminism is just the next evolution of what they're calling white feminism, but there's no difference. These are basically feminists of different stripes are just fighting with each other over who is the most moral, and we're on the outside and we're just like asking for people to take responsibility. That's all. Like that's why, like,
be ethical.
Yeah, because I don't defend like men who commit crimes and say, well, he is a man, therefore he must be a victim somehow. Like, I can point to, oh, there was probably a path that this person went on to come to this point, like in the case of George Floyd, and have sympathy for that history, while also saying, yeah, but he fucked up, and yes, he has to, do the crime, do the time, right? But feminists, their whole thing is trying to figure out how women are victims of things, and never about what they can do. What is their part to play in building a better world? In what way can women take responsibility or initiative or whatever to support children and their men and their society and build a stronger civilization? Like, none of that it's just like, what do women want? That's all it is, right? So,
and it will always default to the women with the most social power. And in America, that remains white elite women. They're the women, they are the majority, and they're the ones with the most social power. In other words, they are the ones who have the most immediate connection to the men with the greatest amount of responsibility over society. I'm not going to say power over society, but responsibility over society.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, there's no winning with this. If you're a minority, there's no winning. No matter what, you are going to end up serving the emotional interests of white women when it comes to feminism. The only way to win is not to play, to walk away and say, I'm going to attend to my communities, I'm going to attend to my families, I'm going to attend to the economy of my people, and just walk away from it all, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just fix your own problems and hold and treat everyone the same, and that's basically all we're doing. So what what's happening even in this very video with Vaush and Shoe is Vaush is trying to figure out how much sin Shoe has based on her support or lack thereof of feminism, and Shoe is trying to figure out how to avoid as much sin as possible by saying, well, I condemn this kind of feminism, but not this kind of feminism, and I'm for these things, and not, and like, I'm not going to play that game. So, and you shouldn't either. But anyway, so Allison, do you want to, I'll play the last bit of the clip if you want to stay, but you don't have to.
Sure. I'm feeling a little bit better now that the technical difficulties aren't all oppressive.
Yeah. I'll just play this clip here. For some reason, now that you're not on camera, Discord isn't crashing. I don't know if that's what caused it. I don't want to test the waters on that. Actually, I could. Hold on a second. Let me share my Brave browser with you. See what happens. If it drops, then, you know, you can blame me. All right, listen. Can you hear this?
Like, advocacy for like breastfeeding in public, or like stuff like that. Like feminism, like I don't think is like, I've never called myself an anti-feminist.
Yeah.
I always used to clarify that I'm just critical of it. But
I mean I agree, and I'm saying the remnants of second wave feminism or bourgeois feminism or liberal feminism or whatever derogatory term people prefer to use with it have led to some pretty disgusting political state of affairs where people.
All right, I'm pausing it there. I noticed that this is a little bit low, so I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Remember, and I said this already, Vaush will say he's a feminist if it helps, but at the end of the day, he's just a communist, flat out. So
people feel as though they're condemning feminism broadly because of the excisions of these, like the worst elements of it, like you said, like BuzzFeed feminism.
Like the more female CEOs feminism.
More female CEOs, more female drone pilots. The manspreading shit took up like 6 months of the United States collective media life for something incredibly fucking irrelevant.
But feminists brought it up. People didn't find that on the fringes. That was mainstream. So
the type of feminism that's legit just I'll say it. I can fairly say this. There are some feminist outlets that are kind of fucking man-hating.
So he had to like build up the courage to say there are some feminist outlets that are kind of man-hating. And he had to build the courage to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They sometimes, on occasion, a few of the outlets, rarely, but sometimes, they can kind of hate men a little bit. It's like
everything based on the idea that men created society in order for their own benefit at the expense of women results inevitably in man-hating. It is impossible to hold that belief in your mind and not have either contempt or hatred towards men as a result on some level, or contempt or hatred towards yourself, one or the other.
Yeah. It's just so cowardly. But this is the thing.
Well, at least he's doing it, you know.
No.
He's making an effort.
No, he laid out a bunch of sandbags. He basically said, some, occasionally, kind of. So he's just giving himself as much plausible deniability as possible because he doesn't want to piss off the feminists in his audience. Because he's ultimately only concerned with how much support he gets for his causes, not necessarily for feminism itself. It's just a useful tool to him.
Okay, can I just point something out?
Yeah.
I think you might find this as annoying as I do.
We lost Allison again. All right, I guess I can't do that.
Annoying as I find these damn technical difficulties. Holy crap.
I know. Just go ahead.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to say this last thing, and then I'm going to just say what the last things that I want to say, and then I'm going to be you could take this wherever you want to go, okay? Shoe not having a firm position, not knowing her own mind is annoying to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not viciously annoying, but it's like, just sit with yourself and find what you actually believe in, even if it's nothing. Even if you're like, you know what, I don't even care. Just make your decision. don't be constantly trying to find approval from people, because that's what I feel is happening here. And you're saying, Vaush, you're so stand for the same reason.
Yeah.
Okay, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You're
All
like
right.
your mic did something, but you're good.
All right, so I apologize to everyone for these technical difficulties. This has been the worst technical difficulties that I have ever been a part of.
Well, in a while.
I am in a while. Okay, all right.
I don't normally have this problem. Not lately, anyway. Not for a year or so.
Yeah, maybe it's Chicago. Chicago is
finally
something is wrong with Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, finally collapsing into a black hole. Thank you, Littlefoot. Anyway. Lightfoot, sorry. Thank you, Lightfoot. But regardless, all right. Final words. If you would like to help Brian get out of the black hole that is Chicago, please go to feedthebadger.com/project/escape-Chicago and put a few shekels in the hat for that. And I will hand it over to you, Brian, and I will take my jinxie self out of this live show.
All right.
So you can land the plane with the two engines on fire and the rudder falling off.
Yep.
Okay.
I can take over from here, Allison. Sorry about the problems. All right. So I do want to play the rest of this clip, and then I'll do my send off and also check out if there's any super chats. I don't know why this was happening, honestly, and all I can do is say I'm sorry and I'll figure it out. But I don't know what this was about. So let me play the rest of the clip.
That actually do that shit. That will be like, oh yeah, you want to be a woman? Listen, men can't do this. Men are shit. Like, okay, are we nailing this feminism thing right now?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's what feminism is. It absolutely is. Just like you said, what would you have to think of men in order for you to build a narrative that society was built by men all throughout history, was built by men to benefit men and at the expense of women, and that only up until recently, men were allowed to and took pleasure in beating their wives, raping women, treating them like shit, not letting them have any political say, just like silencing them, making them wear corsets and all this other shit. How can you craft a narrative that is what history was all throughout history, and that even in the areas where men must have helped women gain any rights at all, you don't actually give them credit for that, right? So, for example, if men never wanted to give women the vote, they just wouldn't have it. So if men were oppressing women, how the fuck did they get the vote? And I've seen conversations, and women and feminists will say, well, we fought for it. Well, yeah, but ultimately, if men control the government and they decided whether or not women can get the vote, how did you get it from them when they hate you and want you to stay oppressed? Oh, well, some progressive men helped out. Oh, so then not all men are shit. But you see, that doesn't really make sense, right? Now, we know the truth about the vote, but I'm just using it as an example. If you construct a narrative like that, it has to come from a place of hate. Like, let's pivot it to economics. If you are a communist, like Vaush is, then you believe that people who own property, own factories, give out jobs, own companies, their own businesses, whatever, that somehow they are evil because they exploit workers for their labor, and they don't give them what they deserve, and they let them live on the edge of poverty, and the government doesn't step in. The only way a narrative like that can even function is you would have to be able to say that rich people are evil, people who own businesses are evil, and that you should hate them. Because why wouldn't you hate evil? Same thing goes for women and men in the case of the feminist narrative. That's the way it works.
Yeah,
or are we doing like pop articles for bitter like white women in the suburbs?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it is.
Now, the purpose of saying bitter white women in the suburbs is to be dismissive of white feminism. And I think, I know what Allison is saying, but this is the thing that I think is important. People like Vaush and like intersectional feminists, they will pivot away from white women as a tool because their own intersectionality doesn't want to recognize them as victims to the same degree that they want to recognize, you know, trans women, black women, whatever, other sort of purse puppies, right? So when they say, oh, white women in the suburbs, they're basically just throwing them out, like they're just being dismissive. And ultimately, what they could be doing with that is essentially giving black women, brown women, trans women, lesbian women, just other types of women, carte blanche to be full of the same hatred that they have, and giving them permission to do that, and in fact justifying their actions. And I think that the deaths that have been going on in some of these cities that are on fire and shit, that is a product of those people thinking that they actually do have a moral right to hurt people, to engage in violence, to destroy property, and to even kill other people. And that if you kill them in the process, you make them into martyrs.
I don't know what you would call it. Like, I have no idea what type of feminism it is, but I hate it. I've always hated it. And even now, coming across it, like, with the elections, you see it, like, you know, vote for Warren because she's a woman.
That's just regular feminism again. It doesn't matter who's running for president. If she's a feminist woman or could be used by feminists, then they'll push her. It doesn't matter if she's white or not. Like, feminism has never been concerned. You know, that whole thing like, oh, you know, white feminism is there aren't enough female CEOs feminism. Come on now. All feminism is like that. What version of feminism looks at the sewers and the garbage men and you know, the blue collar workers and the people in the high voltage, you know, wire towers or whatever, in the nuclear power plants, the Alaskan crab fishermen? How many feminists look at that and say we want more of those jobs? None. They're all concerned with the top 5% or the top 1% even, and they just want a piece of that. It doesn't matter what color their skin is. It doesn't matter how intersectional they are. They're basically engaging in class warfare, just like Vaush. They're just doing it between, you know, for them it's about genitalia as opposed to class. And that's the thing, like, you know, personally, I believe that it's hard to say which came first, because this could be like a chicken egg thing, but this has always been about some form of class struggle. So you'll find that feminists, socialists, feminists, communists, anarchists, Black Lives Matter activists, they all use the same model. They just replace the descriptors, whether they're talking about the rich and the poor, or blacks and whites, or gays and straights, or trans and cis, or female and male, etc. They're all playing the same game. They all believe that there is an oppressor class and oppressed class. That's how you can identify, you know, those narratives. Even the fucking alt-right, which I've already talked about many times, they're just leftists, progressives, just like the progressives are. They just have a different, they just identify a different oppressor and a different oppressed groups. And MRAs are not like that, because at least in my experience, there are probably some MRAs that play that same game. I disagree with that. I don't think it's useful. I don't think that you'll ever get society to care about men to the degree that we care about women. So the only thing, I think the best we can hope for is that they're treated a little bit fairly, you know, it's at least on the government level. But I think that most of what needs to be done has to be done on the cultural level, with societies and families and stuff like that, right? So anyway, all that aside, I believe that, just like Allison said, there is no, like, when people put a special descriptor before feminists, before they're talking about TERFs versus white feminists versus intersectional feminists, the fact is there really isn't any significant difference between any of them. Let me give you an example. TERFs, okay. Trans exclusionary radical feminists is what they're described as. The name TERF, I believe, and I could be wrong, I don't think a TERF coined the term TERF. I think that a TERF was something that an intersectional, or at least trans inclusive feminist called a trans exclusive feminist, right? And let me try to explain why that would be. Trans inclusive or intersectional feminists, remember the kyriarchy? You guys might not, you might want to look that up. they were fighting against the kyriarchy, which is essentially like the patriarchy, but it includes all the intersections, like straight, like white, like male, like, you know, middle class or above, or whatever it is, right? All the other factors, and that's the kyriarchy. A trans exclusionary feminist says that trans women are not women because they're trying to, and instead what they're doing is they're trying to appropriate female victimhood. They're trying to pose themselves as feminists or as women so they can benefit from the I guess from the feminist narrative or whatever, right? They can put themselves, and also trans women would even benefit more because being trans, there's actually like a case to be made for their oppression, because trans women do deal with a lot of problems. But it doesn't have anything to do with them being women. It has to do with them being biologically male and trying to change their gender. And it makes them into an outlier, and often they do become a target of men and women, okay? So a trans exclusionary feminist doesn't think that they're women because they are, in their mind, just men trying to be women. And they also find them to be predatory and dangerous to real women, right? Now, intersectionals demonize them for that, and I guess to an extent, you could say it's justifiable that a person would who assumes a trans woman is dangerous to other women is being sexist or bigoted in some way. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't cases where trans women could be, because trans women are also people, and some of them can be assholes, just like cis women or cis men can be assholes. But a trans inclusionary or intersectional feminist, they may say that they don't have a problem with trans women. But at the end of the day, if they have to form a hierarchy, and they will, because that's how humans work, of who they're willing to tolerate more than others, trans women will be lower on that list because they will feel threatened by them, because the same, let's say, the same logic still exists, but their idea of calling other people trans exclusionary is just a way or a means by which they feel better about themselves. But if a trans woman is suspected of being a threat to cis women, they will throw the trans woman under the bus, even if that person's not a real threat. It's about whether or not they perceive them to be a threat. So there is no significant difference between any kind of feminism. There isn't. This is all just them fighting each other for dominance over the narrative of feminism itself, and by extension, far left ideology, social justice warriorism, whatever you want to call it. So Vaush approaches it from his perspective. God damn it. Sorry, guys.
And this is why
I am sorry. I am running into some problems. I am still streaming, though, which is weird. Vaush approaches it from his perspective, which is about class struggle, and he finds that some people can be useful in accomplishing those goals. And Shoe, I think that she's moderate. She wants... I don't know if you guys can see me. Hopefully you can. Just gonna refresh this page. Things crashing now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna assume that you guys can see this. So, I'm gonna wrap this up because there are too many problems. I don't know what to do. So if you guys like this video, I don't know why you would. Please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, and leave us a comment. I think that we made the case. I'm gonna have to do some work. Something is really wrong with this computer, and I apologize. Thanks guys for coming on, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.